Ever catch yourself daydreaming about a life where money isn't a constant worry? Where maybe work isn't something you have to do, but something you choose to do?
Mhm.
Well, today we're diving into a YouTube video that claims to have the roadmap. 8 assets that make
Mm.
people rich and never work again.
Now, before you think this is all about get-rich-quick schemes, it's actually quite insightful.
Okay.
The video doesn't just list assets, it digs into how the wealthy think differently about wealth building
Right.
than those who struggle financially.
Okay, I'm all ears. Where do they say we should start?
The first asset they highlight is building a successful business.
Mm-hmm.
Not exactly groundbreaking, but they really emphasize the sweat equity involved.
Okay.
They debunk the myth that the ultra-rich just got lucky.
Right.
It takes serious dedication to build something profitable.
So no shortcuts.
Nope, it's all about putting in the work. But the rewards can be life-changing, like for that friend of mine who started a small catering business
Mhm.
from their home kitchen. A few years of long nights and hustle later, and they're catering events for hundreds of people.
That's inspiring.
Yeah.
It shows what's possible with the right amount of passion and effort.
Yeah.
But what about those of us who aren't quite ready to jump into the entrepreneurial deep end?
Well, the video then dives into real estate,
Okay.
particularly rental properties, a
Yeah.
classic wealth-building strategy.
Right.
And here's where it gets interesting. They talk about using OPM,
Okay.
other people's money.
Okay, hold on. You're telling me I don't need to save up a fortune to buy a property outright?
Exactly. Leveraging borrowed money, like through a mortgage,
Right.
can actually supercharge your returns.
Okay.
Let's say you buy a rental property for $200,000 with a 20% down payment.
Mm-hmm.
That's $40,000 of your own money. If the property appreciates by just 5% in a year, you've made a $10,000 profit on your initial $40,000 investment,
Right.
a 25% return. Try getting that kind of return from a savings account.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense. And then there's the added benefit of rental income coming in each month.
Plus, don't forget the tax advantages. Did you know you can often deduct expenses like mortgage interest and property depreciation
Yeah.
from your rental income? It's like the government is giving you a little boost to help you build wealth.
It's like building a financial fortress, brick by brick. But what about those of us who might not have the time or resources to manage properties?
That's where the video introduces what they call paper assets, stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. Think of it as buying a tiny slice of ownership
Right.
in big established companies.
So instead of building a business from scratch, you're riding the wave of someone else's success.
Precisely. And the video emphasizes the power of compounding returns. It's kind of like a snowball effect.
Mhm.
Even small investments can grow significantly over time. Imagine you invest $1,000 and earn a 7% annual return. After 10 years, you'll have almost doubled your money without lifting a finger.
Okay, now that's the kind of math I like. But isn't the stock market a bit risky?
That's why the video stresses diversification, not putting all your eggs in one basket. And this is where they introduce a more unconventional asset: commodities.
Okay.
They even call them God's money.
Commodities like gold, silver, oil.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more about this God's money business.
They argue that commodities have inherent value
Okay.
that transcends fluctuating currencies. Think about it. People will always need food, energy, and precious metals,
Mhm.
no matter what the economy is doing.
So it's like a safety net against inflation or economic uncertainty.
History shows that during times of crisis, when paper assets like stocks might plummet, commodities like gold tend to hold their value, even increase.
Yeah.
For example, during the 2008 financial crisis,
Right.
while the stock market was crashing, gold prices soared.
So it's all about balance, having a mix of assets that can weather different economic storms.
Exactly. Now, are you ready for a bit of a curveball?
Okay.
The next asset they highlight isn't something you can buy or sell.
Yeah.
It's time. Time. I mean, it's valuable, sure, but how is it an asset for building wealth?
Think about it. How we choose to spend our time, especially when we're young, can massively impact our financial future.
Okay, I'm starting to see where you're going with this. Wasting time is like wasting money.
Hmm.
But how can we actively invest our time to build wealth?
It could be anything from learning a new skill that increases your earning potential to starting a side hustle that brings in extra income,
Mm-hmm.
or even something as simple as reading books on finance and investing to become more financially literate. It's about making every minute count.
So it's not just about having time, it's about using it strategically to create opportunities for wealth building. And that's a powerful message.
And here's another one that might surprise you. The video stresses the importance of health
Okay.
as a wealth-building asset.
Health is wealth, as they say.
Yeah.
But how does it directly contribute to financial success?
Well, neglecting your health can lead to some hefty medical bills down the road, not to mention lost income from missed work.
That's true. I know someone who had to declare bankruptcy after a major illness because they didn't have adequate health insurance. It was a devastating financial setback.
It's a reminder that good health is the foundation for a productive and fulfilling life, which ultimately leads to better financial outcomes.
So investing in our health is not just a feel-good thing. It's a smart financial move.
Yes.
It's about preventing future problems and maximizing our earning potential over the long haul.
Exactly. Now, are you ready to dive into the digital world?
Lead the way.
Yeah.
I'm always fascinated by how people are creating wealth online.
The video highlights online assets like YouTube channels, blogs, and social media
Right.
as modern avenues for generating income.
It's amazing how the internet has democratized entrepreneurship, giving anyone with a laptop and an internet connection the potential to reach a global audience.
And the barrier to entry is surprisingly low. You don't need a fancy office or a big team to get started.
So what's the key to building a successful online business? Is it all about having 1 million followers on Instagram?
While a large audience can certainly help, the video emphasizes the importance of finding your niche and providing value to a specific group of people.
Okay.
It's about solving problems, sharing expertise, or simply entertaining an audience.
It's about creating something that people genuinely want and need.
Yes.
And I've seen it firsthand. A friend of mine started a blog about vegan cooking and turned it into a thriving business, selling ebooks, online courses, and even kitchenware.
And that's the beauty of online assets. They offer flexibility, scalability, and the potential to reach a massive audience.
It's truly inspiring to see how people are leveraging the internet to achieve their financial goals and live life on their own terms. But before we get too carried away with the possibilities, we have one more asset to cover, and it's something we all possess but might not think of as a tool for building wealth.
Intrigued. We'll uncover this final asset and explore how it connects to everything we've discussed so far in part 2 of our deep dive. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. We've been exploring these 8 assets that make people rich and never work again. And I'm really starting to see the bigger picture here. It's not just about individual assets, but how they all fit together,
Yeah.
like pieces of a puzzle.
Absolutely. Each asset we've discussed so far, businesses, real estate, paper assets, commodities, time,
Right.
and even our health plays a role in building a solid foundation for financial freedom.
And last we left off, you hinted at one final surprising asset that we all possess. What is it?
This one might sound a little cliche, but the video calls out the importance of your network
Okay.
as a powerful wealth-building tool.
Okay, I've heard the saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know. But isn't that a bit cynical?
Not necessarily. The video's point is that relationships can unlock opportunities you might never find on your own. Think about it. A strong network can connect you with mentors, investors, clients,
Right.
or even just supportive friends who believe in your vision.
So it's less about using people and more about surrounding yourself with those who can help you grow and succeed.
Exactly. It's about building genuine connections, fostering trust,
Right.
and finding ways to support each other. It's about creating a community where everyone benefits.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
But how do you actually build a valuable network? Do I need to start going to fancy industry events and handing out business cards like candy?
Networking doesn't have to be stuffy or transactional. It can be as simple as joining online communities related to your interests, attending workshops or conferences,
Right.
or even just reaching out to someone you admire for a virtual coffee chat.
So it's about being proactive and putting yourself out there.
Absolutely. And remember, networking is a two-way street. Be willing to offer your own skills, knowledge, and support to others.
It's about building genuine relationships, not just collecting contacts. I love that. Okay, let's circle back to some of the other assets for a moment. I want to make sure I fully grasp the nuances of some of these concepts. For example, we talked about paper assets, stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. But could you break down the differences between those a bit further?
Of course. Stocks represent ownership in a company. When you buy a stock, you're essentially buying a small piece of that company.
Right.
If the company performs well, the value of your stock goes up, and you can potentially make a profit by selling it.
So it's a bit of a gamble, right? The company could do well, or it could tank.
There's definitely risk involved with stocks, which is why diversification is so important. Now, bonds are a bit different. They're like loans you give to a company or government.
Okay.
In return for lending them money, they promise to pay you back with interest over a set period.
So bonds are generally considered less risky than stocks?
Generally, yes. They offer a more predictable return,
Okay.
but usually that return is lower than what you might potentially earn from stocks. Now, mutual funds are a way to diversify your investments within the world of stocks and bonds.
So instead of picking individual stocks or bonds, you're buying a basket of them?
Exactly. A mutual fund pools money from many
Yeah,
investors
right.
to buy a diversified portfolio of assets. This helps spread risk and potentially maximize returns.
That's really helpful. Now, speaking of diversification, I'm still intrigued by this idea of commodities as God's money. Do you have any historical examples that support their value as a safe haven?
Let's look at gold. Throughout history, gold has maintained its value even during times of war, economic collapse,
Mm-hmm.
and political upheaval. For example, during the hyperinflation in Germany in the 1920s,
Right.
people who held onto their gold were able to preserve their wealth while those who kept their money in cash saw its value erode rapidly.
So it's like a hedge against the potential for currencies to lose their value.
Precisely. Commodities offer a tangible asset with intrinsic value, something that can't be printed or manipulated by governments. Now remember, no investment is completely risk-free.
Right.
But commodities offer a unique way to diversify your portfolio and potentially protect your wealth during uncertain times.
This is all starting to make so much sense. It's not just about chasing the hottest stock or trying to time the real estate market.
Yeah,
It's about building a resilient financial strategy with diverse assets that can weather any storm.
exactly. And remember those two unconventional assets we talked about earlier, time and health. They might not seem directly related to wealth building,
Right.
but they're essential for achieving long-term financial security.
You're right. If we're constantly stressed, burnt out, and neglecting our well-being,
Yeah.
we're not going to be in the best position to make sound financial decisions or put in the work required to build lasting wealth.
Exactly. Investing in your health, both physically and mentally, pays dividends in the long run. It gives you the energy,
Mhm.
focus, and resilience you need to pursue your financial goals.
And time. How can we view time as an asset that we need to actively invest?
Think about it. Every hour of every day is a precious resource that we can either waste or invest wisely. Instead of mindlessly scrolling through social media or binge watching TV, what if we dedicated even just 30 minutes a day to learning a new skill,
Right.
reading a book on personal finance, or working on a side hustle?
Those small, consistent actions can add up over time. It's like making micro investments in our future selves.
Precisely. Time is the one resource we can never get back, so we must be intentional about how we spend it. Now, are you ready for a bit of a mind shift? We're going to revisit one of the assets we discussed earlier,
Okay.
but look at it from a slightly different perspective.
Okay, I'm game. Which asset are we talking about?
Remember that first asset we discussed, building a business? Well, the video challenges viewers to think beyond the traditional brick-and-mortar businesses we often associate with entrepreneurship.
You mean like starting a lemonade stand?
That's one way to do it, but in today's world,
Right.
there are so many more ways to build a business.
Oh, I see where you're going with this. You're talking about those online assets we discussed earlier.
Yeah,
Creating a business around a blog, a YouTube channel, or even a social media platform.
exactly. The internet has opened up incredible opportunities for individuals to create and scale businesses
Right.
with minimal overhead and global reach.
And the best part is, you can build a business around something you're truly passionate about.
Absolutely. Whether you're an expert baker, a fitness enthusiast, a talented artist, or a tech whiz, there's an audience out there waiting to connect with you and support your work.
This is so exciting. It feels like we've uncovered a treasure map, leading to multiple paths to create a life of abundance and financial freedom.
And the journey doesn't end here. In the final part of our deep dive, we'll revisit this idea of building a business in the digital age and explore how it ties together with all the other assets we've discussed. Stay tuned for the grand finale.
I am ready to wrap up our deep dive into these 8 assets that make people rich and never work again. We've covered so much ground, from tangible assets like real estate to more intangible ones like time and health. It's really broadened my perspective on wealth building.
And we've saved the best for last. Remember how we were discussing the power of building a business?
Yeah.
Well, the video we're analyzing takes it a step further
Okay.
and challenges viewers to think beyond traditional business models.
Okay. I'm intrigued. You mean going beyond just opening a storefront or starting a manufacturing company?
Exactly. In today's digital age, the possibilities for entrepreneurs